We're just going to go straight to discuss Shapella because that's the other interesting thing, as you said. Senior protocol engineer at Ethereum client Besu, Justin Florentine, is with us for that. Justin, it's great to have you.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
So, we just need to understand this, and for the uninitiated also, just explain what your exact role is. What is the relationship between Hyperledger Besu? It's an Ethereum client, but it's developed by consensus. And where do you stand in all of that?
Sure. I'm a protocol engineer. It means I'm one of the developers that work on it. Besu is an open source project under the Hyperledger Foundation umbrella, which is a subsection of the Linux Foundation. Consensus's relationship to Hyperledger is simply that we donate a lot of labor. So a large number of the developers that work on Hyperledger are from Consensus, but not exclusively. There's also contributors from the broader open source community as well as other companies.
Yeah, I read an article about your entire day schedule, which is on CoinDesk. I encourage all our viewers to go ahead and read that. It's fascinating how you get up in the morning and then you have to kind of work through different time zones. But let's get straight to Shapella. The Ethereum community has characterized this hard fork as a historic milestone. It's gone past 2K Ether. But is something missing? Because does it feel historic in the moment already, or is that history still in the making?
It does feel historic. It's the capstone that we have to provide for the merge. The merge came and went. It was probably the most sophisticated thing that any blockchain has attempted to do in public, but we didn't quite deliver the return of rewards and stake to our users. So that had to be deferred, but that's been delivered. That went off without a hitch last night, and now we're fully complete as far as making the transition from proof of work to proof of stake. So historic, yes, perhaps delayed a little bit.
So what do you expect us to see kind of in the next few weeks? For people who don't really understand the significance of this, are we going to see any big changes just in the crypto market or in ETH, in the near future that people should be looking out for?
So I don't like to talk about price because I'm not an analyst, but there are going to be some interesting things that are going to shake out, I think. So a couple of things to keep an eye on are probably our liquid staking and what we have, some folks have referred to in the community as the great reshuffling. So many stakers were initially unable to run their own solo validators at home. That's the preferred way of staking, but not everybody has the capital required to stake to secure the network. Those users use centralized services like a number of exchanges that are out there that offer staking rewards, and now that withdrawals are unlocked and those services can provide their money back to their users, I would expect folks to sort of move around and start maybe shopping around for different deals based on their priorities. Hopefully, as a decentralized developer, I would encourage everybody to pursue decentralized options, and that's probably the next immediate thing that we'll have to keep an eye on.
All right. One of the key questions that came from my colleague as we were thinking about this particular segment, Omkar Godbole, he asked, what's the expected selling pressure from distressed entities? We know that bankrupt crypto lender Celsius will be selling off staked assets. Are there more troubled entities like Celsius, in your opinion, after this fork?
Again, I'm not really don't really have a lot of insight into the economics of how things work. I'm a technician. I work on the network itself. Selling pressure is always, a thing that happens. And what we don't know right now is whether or not this is a risk on or risk off event. You could make the argument that now that withdrawals have been unlocked, everybody's going to start recouping. You could also make the argument that now that withdrawals are possible, anybody that didn't want to take the risk is now going to be, looking at it as a risk-off event, and that they're going to start dumping money into it.
Just going back to the upgrade for a moment, did anything happen that was unexpected? Because, it was sort of predicted to be relatively, as you said, it went off without a hitch. It's kind of what happened. Did anything unexpected happen out of this, or did it go kind of exactly as planned?
It went beautifully. We're super, super happy with it. There was the expected drop in participation was about 6%. That's very normal. It's much less than we saw on our test nets. And we did expect it to be less because, obviously there's a much more significant financial incentive to keep your clients updated and keep them participating. But the network did come with some new functionality that would increase traffic. There's a system of upgrades that people need to execute for their keys to convert them to a new format so they can get their withdrawals. We expected a flurry of that to hit the network and to cause a little bit of congestion. We saw a little bit of that, but nothing that threatened the network, nothing that caused any problems. And right now, attestation and participation rates are right back where they were before the upgrade.
All right. On-chain data tracked by Rated Network Explorer shows that all of the validators moving to unstake, and Kraken leads with 62% of the exit queue breakdown. We expected that, of course, because of the legal obligations of Kraken. But can you just give us a bit of a roadmap of what you think is going to happen with Kraken going forward, given what's happened?
Well, I think that's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm hoping that folks that were in centralized exchanges, and perhaps a lot of the ones that have experienced some regulatory pressure that is discouraging them from staking, will take that opportunity to pursue either solo staking at home. It's not as hard as it seems, or perhaps collaborating with their friends and pursuing building up enough of a stake that they can secure the network and pursuing more decentralized options.
Yeah. No, the other question, and to wrap up, if you want to continue with your thought, that's totally okay, all right. Some analysts have thought of this entire fork as a bit of a proxy war between Bitcoin and Ether. Do you see it as that at all in any way?
I'm not sure that this fork was any different than any other conflict between, the Bitcoin and Ether. I don't really see it any different than moving to proof of stake from proof of work. I think that what is interesting as far as the tension between the two is Bitcoin is really, really good at being one thing and not changing ever and ossifying. And that is not something that Ethereum has had the opportunity to do yet. This could be the beginning of being able to sort of stabilize and actually change fewer things as we move forward.
All right. Well, thanks so much for that, Justin. That was Justin Florentine, Besu protocol engineer. Thanks so much, Justin. Appreciate it.